Maybe they should have had cloned women.
Yeah.
So,
The one that you're talking about now. I thought, what year did Prayer of the Rollerboys take place? Did it show a year as far as when it was?
That's a good question.
I don't think it did it?
I don't remember it ever saying,
Yeah.
They just sort of reference.
Right.
No, I don't know.
I don't think they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick King, big time, of course, like we said, director for it. Didn't do much, but yeah. Of course, the big one was Point Break along with Peter Illiff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but Peter Illiff, some heavy stuff that he's done. Of course, Point Break as well, but Varsity Blues, the movie, wrote, and also the TV series. I never watched the TV series. I had to be short-lived. I didn't even.
It must have been. And he also took part in the most recent Point Break as well.
Right.
That sort of abomination.
Yeah, they both did, yeah. I think the Varsity Blues TV series was on MTV for some reason, I want to say. It feels like it would have been.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But he also screenplay for Patriot Games.
Games, man.
Tales from the Crypt, season one, or excuse me, just one episode. But then he also did Trump's America, a short.
So, that's kind of the background of the film. Like we said, not much in way of like numbers, concrete numbers for what it did or where it was released. It was released overseas in 91. It was released, whatever that means, here in the States in 1990. Runtime in November of 1990. Runtime about 95 minutes. And let's hop into it.
I don't want to interject with going back a little bit.
Please interject.
But all right, so just to backtrack real quick on Peter Illiff,
yes.
I was doing some research, and I came across an article on dailymail.com. This was published in September of 2020 that was titled, Hollywood Screenwriter Behind Point Break and Varsity Blues moved boulders into West Los Angeles freeway underpass to keep homeless people out on the hottest weekend of the year. So I read the story, and apparently him and this little, community that they're in, very, an upscale community, there is a tunnel that kind of that separates two communities, and this tunnel is used a lot by homeless people. Unfortunately, it's used for, like, drugs, too, but a lot of them stay in there during the hot days and just stay under the underpass right there, too, in that tunnel. And he was sick of it, so he got his community to take a lot of boulders from the side of the road and just block up the tunnel so that they couldn't get in.
It's so funny that he did that, considering how, like, empathetic he tries to be to homeless people in this film.
Right.
I guess that went away when he started making money, huh?
Yeah, it always does. Everything goes away when you make money. Yeah.
Another fun little side thing, if you go to paperdragon.com, and I think what this website does is take movies and then create role-playing games with them.
Oh, nice.
So on paperdragon.com/cyberpunk /RNS/rollerboys, you probably just search Paper Dragon Rollerboys, it'll come up. They give you an outline of what the movie is, they go over the characters, and then you get like you can be a roller boy, gang rank 2, awareness and notice 4, handgun or SMG, brawling 5, intimidate 4, streetwise. So you get all these points, and you can also get like there's an effect of what happens if your character ends up doing the Mist, and other gang factions include the B-13s and Los Angeles Police. So you play a little role playing game.
That's fun.
So
somebody had to take the time to do all these movies as role-playing games?
I don't know how many movies they've actually done, but...
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
But it gives you a character and a character's ranks and all this stuff, so...
Yeah.
All right. And I couldn't find a body count, but I imagine it's a lot with all the drive-bys and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
So we can just skip that portion, and we can get right into the movie... A movie in which Corey Haim did a lot of his own stunts. Guess he was a blader. You can certainly tell the stunts that Corey Haim did.
Sure, yeah.
Like, in that opening scene where he's blading the pool, he's just sort of going up and down hills, and then all of a sudden it cuts to this wide shot of this really ripped dude doing like a full 30-foot jump or something. We get sort of the world set for us, and I gotta say, I think the setting of this movie is great.
It is, because it's not as it's not over the top apocalyptic.
Right.
It's just like, people are poor, and that's pretty much what it is. And it sets the tone nicely, kind of this smoggy LA. People are still, though, he's rollerblading near the beach and everything too. People are still living their lives in a way.
Yeah.
Trying to do the normal thing. But it's still just this rampant crime, poverty. And I like how it's thrust in immediately. I love the Rollerboy ad immediately, too. Kind of, now we set the tone of everything that's going on, and we get the great diatribe by Gary Lee and kind of his campaign and his TV pamphlet of what the Rollerboys are, what they're about, and why you should join them, I guess.
Which also happens to be all the exposition for this film.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Which is great.
It is, and... he talks about... I was trying to think, there was one part when he does go into, like, the alien. When he started saying... I had no idea that this was about race before I watched this movie.
Did you think that we had been attacked by aliens?
Well, when he said aliens, I just thought he was doing... he was giving a kind insight to people from other countries coming over to... the United States, so that's, and I was like, oh, good job, Gary. Whoa, sorry, whoa, no, Gary Lee. I was like, Gary, I can get behind these whoa.
Yeah, it's a great, we introduce our hero. We see that he's not necessarily part of that group. He's doing his own thing. We can see that he's a capable skater. He has his Milty, the little brother, who's just kind of a trash digger. And we get to sort of see the world they live in, and it's great. It's like I said, I think the setting and stuff like that is really well done.
Yeah, definitely. We kind of get our hearts tuned in with Speedbagger and what they mean to him and everything too, which is great. So, all in this one scene, this first scene, besides Haim rollerblading all over the place, you get everything that's going on, and that's set up for what'll happen, going further, and everything is just pretty much laid the foundation, and we're off to the races with it.
And we find out that Corey delivers pizza.
Yep.
Griffin delivers pizza, and he has to do it with a machine gun because of the gang violence and stuff like that. It's these little things that I think are just so really subtle and well done. Like the idea that all major universities have now moved to China or Japan.
Yeah. Right. Harvard's in Hiroshima. Yeah.
Like, I think that's hilarious.
It's very RoboCop-esque, kind of, with that, too. Yeah.
And they can't... So, Griffin's character sees his opportunities leaving day by day. And everything else, the badness, closing in on his character. What scene should we talk about first?
A two-parter, just with the saving of Bullwinkle and rolling into the party. Because let me tell you, those Rollerboys bang, and I didn't think that it would happen. Man, they get... Dude.
That is a fucking party. So basically what happens is this meth house catches on fire, or this mist house, this drug that's corrupting everything going on, and Corey Haim selflessly saves Bullwinkle, who's a roller boy, and that's how he ends up in the sights of his childhood friend, Gary Lee, who's the head Nazi of the whole thing. And so he destroys his boss's van, and his boss is like, you're gonna work for me indentured servitude style, and Gary Lee's like, no, you don't have to do that. And he's like, don't touch me, Gary Lee. Get away from me. We don't want it. But the kid does it anyway, and the kid gets in debt. The little brother is how Gary Lee gets the claws in Griffin.
Yeah. Milty is an asshole all the way through this movie.
You start off and you kind of like him.
Right.
And you're like, oh, man, he's going to be easily swayed. And, like, the first time you catch him dealing drugs, you're like, oh, man, don't do that.
Yeah.
Then he becomes a user, and then he starts being an asshole to his brother.
Yeah.
I mean, they really, like, stopped making him likable as the wisecracking youth of the film.
Yeah, he just turns into a user 40-year-old by the end of this movie. Just everything,
sure.
You owe me everything. You need to do this for me, kind of thing. And it's just, dude, stop,
calm down.
Yeah.
So, and then we get the party.
Yeah. So Gary Lee has Griffin. Corey Haim he's not a roller boy, but because of his ties to Gary Lee kind of accepts him. He can get into these things, these parties that they have. Because Gary Lee does want him as a roller boy. And so Griffin goes to this party. And man, like I said, I got the racism at the first. And I was like, okay, this is the route it's taking. I had no idea of the violence that was going to take place. And then I had no idea of the obligatory breast shots that were going to take place.
Yeah, that was a surprise too.
This Dalton... Patrick Swayze could have bounced at this party. I mean, this was a Roadhouse party before the Double Deuce cleaned up.
There's like Jello wrestling. There's people having sex. There's displays of rollerblading. There's a carousel. There's this kid gifting Gary Lee with lifetime mini golf.
And Gary Lee thankfully takes it too.
Yeah, what was like? I get like everyone has to come pay their respects and give gifts, but like I would have loved to know more about that kid who gifted Gary Lee a lifetime. I guess mini golf is still a thing.
Yeah, it's a currency.
It's a currency. He wants to keep Gary Lee happy, and Gary Lee's trying to smooze Griffin and get him in. He wants a new right hand man. He wants someone who's smart, who's driven, just like Griffin. And apparently Griffin is also the best blader going right now.
Right. He's a solid blader. He's
a solid blader, which, we can jump around a little bit, but remember when we get to see all of the... this is before the van happens, I think. And we
in the garage?
We get to see Milty just watching Corey Haim rollerblade. And it's just... I mean, it's cool, but it's like not impressive. It's just... Which I think Corey Haim... From what I understand, he did his own stunts. This is the scene where he did his own stunts.
Oh, yeah. That little twist thing that he did, that's a Corey Haim original there.
He's like, I bet he really got into rollerblading, just like all of America did in 88, 89. So he was like probably coming up to where he was like, I can rollerblade good enough to be on camera and do basic shit.
Yeah.
And that's what he does in this scene. And it was like, wow, yeah, way to go. It's basically him just sort of weaving in figure eights and jumping in 360s. And that's it.
And that's, I mean, like, if we were watching this movie as kids, me and you would go outside, get on our rollerblades. I'd tell you to do the hammer, and you would do a little...
and then I'd break my wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get what, at the time, I thought was about the most ominous, badass shot I'd ever seen in film.
It is pretty good. It is pretty good.
When the Rollerboys come in, like, the flying V, before Emilio Estevez took it... we get the flying V of the Prayer of the Rollerboys, and this is how they always move in their group.
Arm swaying, perfect unison.
Arm swaying in perfect unison. He wheels down at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And Gary Lee and Griffin sort of have their... what's the word I'm thinking of here, Marcus? Detente?
I think I know where you're... I know what you're saying, but...
yeah. But anyway... You can roast me if you want to. Just you can contact us on our social media. So we get that, and it's really cool. We get to see Gary Lee being all charismatic. Once again, the guy, Collette, he does a great job. And gets his hooks even deeper into Griffin's brother, which eventually we get to the party. And we get to meet what we think at the time is a mist head.
Right, for the second time, because she does approach Haim originally for a short period of time, and then he says, "I don't have any." She wants the mist. Patricia Arquette.
Is she? Yeah, this is Patricia Arquette's character. She's a cop. You don't know this yet. Is she just trying to bust him as a dealer, or is she trying to blackmail him to get deeper?
I think she was vetting him to see if he did deal mist.
I see.
And then because then when when he goes into Jaworski's office to get, or before that, They just showed that quick clip of her and the other cop, or if it's Jaworski, I can't remember, in that room, and it's just like, oh, this kid's fallout or something like that.
Right.
And I think that it was just like, oh, he's nothing. He's not in with them, so he's not anybody that could